All right, so now I'm back again because in like 2 minutes' time, I want to tell you quickly that we're going to have an amazing presentation by Jonathan Duncan. And here is Jonathan. Hello, Jonathan. Hi. Hi. Now, can we hear you?
Me. Okay, I just unmuted my microphone. Can you hear me now?
I can. I wanted to make
Oh,
sure we
excellent.
could, right? We have to test right before you start. We got to make sure we have the technology going right.
That's correct. Or else you're like,
Yes, and you know, Jonathan is a software developer as well. This seems to be the morning of software development, one after the other. It's really astonishing. And
wow.
um, I want to tell everybody very quickly about Jonathan. Jonathan and I have known each other for several years now. Let me ask you, Jonathan, how many years has it been that we've known each other?
Let me see now. Probably approximately 8 years or so. 8 or 9 years, I think.
Yeah, and the way we started, I think, was more on the internet through the sign writing list, possibly, etc. How did we get started? Tell me.
Yeah, well, I had started learning sign language, and then I was looking for a way of having more vocabulary because learning American Sign Language in Central America is terribly difficult because there's no deaf to interact with. Well, there are a few, but I had to travel to be with them. So I was looking for more vocabulary, looking through books, and then I'm thinking, well, I've learned some signs from other deaf, and I should like write them down so I can like share with other people. And I thought, well, I should invent my own like way of writing signs, so that we could write signs and we could share between each other. And then one day I was looking through internet, Wikipedia about ASL, and now the bottom was a link to your website. And then I
Wow.
saw your website. I thought, wow, this is awesome. This is actually what I needed. It's already made already. And then I started from there, and then I wrote you a question. I think I emailed you, and you
Oh,
told me about the list. I joined the list, and then we just went from there, asking
great.
questions about sign writing, and then yeah.
That's how
So
it happened. Well, I'm going to explain something. I need a 5 minute break, and I would like to ask you to just start because you can tell the story better than I can anyway, right?
yep,
And tell us everything
sure.
about your background and why you're using it and your software. And this was my question. You know how Steve just kind of worked hard helping Stefan with his presentation, showing the program, and I realized, can you do that on your screen? I asked Adam about that today. Could you just show the SignWriter Studio right up on your screen? And I can't remember his answer. There must have been a technical reason. So, but if Steve would be
Yeah, I
willing,
think what it is when I show my screen, you won't see the interpreter anymore.
well, that's what happened with Stefan's presentation anyway. I think it was better. I think what I'm going to do is add the interpreter and the English captions and possibly even German captions and lots of other things later. Because when it came to Stefan's presentation, it looked so complicated. He looked like he couldn't get his screen working. And yesterday we had so many technical problems with everybody's presentation. You should have seen the shenanigans. We had to mix things up. We couldn't get where things to work. I just thought, well, okay, so we lost the ASL interpreting for Stefan's presentation, but it went really well. You see how happy
Okay.
he was because he was able to really work on telling everybody about it without the confusion of switching back and forth between screens. So we're going to have to
Okay.
add the ASL interpreting later for Stefan's last presentation. So,
Okay. Just let me clean up my desktop here. I wasn't thinking I was going to be showing my screen at all. So
but do you
let's
agree with me,
close.
or would you prefer to have the ASL interpreter and you just talk? What would be better for you?
Either's fine. Just let me get a few seconds just to close a few programs here, and then we can
If you
look
don't
at
mind, I'm
SignWriter
going to
Studio.
take a 2 minute break and I'll be right back. I do
Okay.
have the screen on you, so you can start talking anytime. You could even be talking while you are trying to get your screen up. And Adam
Okay.
is interpreting for you right now, but as soon as the screen comes up, it's true, we will lose Adam. I'm sorry, Adam. And I know that wasn't our original plan, but I think I'm right. Because if we get a really good demo from you that isn't hard to hear, that, you know, clean and clear, then we can always add interpretation
Okay.
later. Okay? So I'll be back in
Okay.
about 2 minutes,
Sounds good.
everybody.
Okay. Let's close this out. Close that one. So I'm gonna open SignWriter Studio. Okay, um, so I started doing SignWriter Studio. It started out as another project which was called ASL List when I was doing American Sign Language, and I was trying to find ways of sharing with other deaf. They didn't know any sign, hadn't been to sign school. The signs I'd been learning as well, so I was making a list of different signs from books I could find. But the problem was I was limited on the vocabulary. I needed a way to expand it more. And when I came across SignWriter Studio, I came across SignWriting, I should say, then I decided I wanted to include that in my program. And so I made a lot of changes to it, and um, it's been a long process getting to where we are. But now I can add as many signs as I want, and also um, do show can add as many signs as I want, so I can show new signs to people, even though we don't have like another book to take it from, or things that I've seen, signs that I've learned from others deaf. I can share those as well. So that was one of the motivations of doing SignWriter Studio. Also, another thing, I had looked at the SignPuddle, and for selecting the symbols, that was a little bit complicated for me. So I wanted something that would be a little bit easier for myself. I was learning SignWriting at the time, and also learning sign language and SignWriting, so it was a lot to figure it out first. So as I was learning SignWriting, I also wrote the program. So I want to show you something that I think is interesting about SignWriter Studio. It's the editor. So I've got the dictionary open here. Let me share the screen with you though, so you can see it as well.
Now, I don't think we're seeing it.
Share. No, okay. I'll just hit share. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so now this dictionary I have open right now is Quebec Sign Language. I was doing some work for actually, I'm going to switch over to my Honduran Sign Language. That'll be better. So open SignWriter file and files. Okay, here we are. And I need to change my options so that we looks for Spanish and the Honduran Sign Language.
Can you hear me, Jonathan?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. So I'm assuming that everybody who's live and can watch this can hear me as well, right? Okay.
I believe so.
So we're just doing this in English, and I apologize to all the ASL signers in the world. Okay, so here we are on the screen, and we are not even sure who you are yet, Jonathan. The one thing you should know is that Jonathan is a programmer who lives in Honduras, but has a background from Canada. And so that's why we are speaking English together, but Jonathan also obviously speaks Spanish and lives in Honduras, and has for many years, haven't you?
That's right. I've been there 12 years now.
Wow, it's a long time. Yeah. So that's why on the SignWriting Symposium it says that Jonathan's from Honduras, because he is. He lives there. But he's also from Canada. And this is a program that Jonathan Duncan developed called SignWriter Studio. So he's telling us, he's showing us now, so you go ahead and talk.
Okay, so SignWriter Studio is some of my ideas, and a lot of ideas of other people on the list that had different ideas and their suggestions. As much as I could, I tried to incorporate them into SignWriter Studio. So I was going to show you the editor, which is, well, this here, maybe just explain this page here. This is the dictionary. So this is where you search for signs. So you can type in part of a word in the gloss search. Click search, and you can find the words. If we put in 100, we should get 100. There we are. So we only have the 100 showing up now. So the main word for that sign, other additional words that also would be the same sign. If you want an illustration of the sign, a photo of like someone signing it, like just a still picture, and then the sources for those three. And if we don't want to export that sign, we can click this. So when we do exports, then it just becomes our private sign. We don't have to share with everybody. Okay, so if we click on the SignWriting here and the edit SignWriting, we get the sign editor. And I'm going to show you this part here, the search. So let's say, okay.
Where are you? You got to tell us where you're putting your cursor. I'm lost.
Okay, you don't see my cursor?
I don't know. Tell me where you are right now.
Okay, so now we're in the sign editor. I'm in the search tab. So here we can search for hand shapes.
Oh, no, we're not there. We're not seeing that.
You're not?
I'm not. What I see is only a screen that is back in the dictionary where it's frozen, I guess.
I think what happens is I selected the last screen I had. And when I open up a new window, then it doesn't switch to the new window. So let me go back to the Hangout and switch it.
And I'm sorry that I'm doing this, but
it's good you let me know. I didn't realize that. So that's good that you let me know because I had no idea you weren't seeing what I was saying.
That's right. That's okay, Jonathan. While you're doing this, let me just explain. I wanted them to understand that Jonathan has developed a new software way of using the ISWA, the International Signwriting Alphabet. He's using the ISWA 2010. In fact, Jonathan went through the issues of having to switch from the ISWA 2008 or update to the ISWA 2010 with me and Steve. We all went through the same process of conversion and getting things to work again. And now, go ahead, Jonathan. We can see a screen now that shows. Yes. Yeah.
So in other programs, you might have something like this in the all. Not exactly the same format, but basically it's the big listing of the different hand shapes. So to find the hand shape you're looking for when you're starting to learn SignWriting, it's a little complicated. Once you get the hang of it, then it's not quite as bad. But for starter users, it's good. Starting users, it's good to have like something like the search. So if you want something that's on a fist, you can click here, fist, and let's reset that first. Okay, hit fist and then search, and we get all the hand shapes that are on a fist. But let's say you want it to have the index and the middle fingers.
Yeah, and so you clicked on that number 4, and that gives you something. Is that the fingers?
Yeah, these are the fingers. So this is the thumb. One's the thumb. 4 is the index. So if it's in the box, then the black box in it means we don't care whether it's sticking out of the base shape or not.
So in other words, wait just one moment. So I think everyone has to get oriented here. What you're doing is you're searching for signs. Is that correct?
We're searching for symbols.
For
hand symbols.
Or what some people call glyphs. By the way, there are different terms for these things. I noticed that the other researchers were using the term glyph, and that's perfectly fine. In my world, back when I first started, I called them symbols. So that's why we're calling them symbols, and that's fine. So let's say we wanted to find the fist. Is that what you said you were looking for?
Yeah, so this is showing us all the symbols that are fists.
Oh, I see. Up on the top under root shape. Oh, I see.
Root shape. Yeah, right here. So you can choose different root shapes.
I see.
And then you can choose what fingers you want to be sticking out of the root shape. For here, for example, we've selected index and middle. So all these have at least the index in the middle. They can have more than that also showing. But if we just want the index in the middle, we uncheck these other ones. So this will have only fist root shapes with the index in the middle showing. So there we are. So
that is so unique. That's one of the, I have never seen a search quite like that, where you give it the name root shape, meaning I find the base. And now I'm going to find all the hand shapes that use only those 2 fingers, index and middle, with that base.
That's right. So I can change the base, like say a circle and ovals.
Yeah, could you do that now? Go under root shape. Up on the left, there's where it says root shape. Then he chose circle. You need to hold it for a minute because we can't see it as fast. I think there's hold it right there. Hold it there. Can you click on that and give us a listing so we can see the drop-down menu? Do you see it now? I don't. Let's do it again. Can you click it again? Isn't that interesting? We're not seeing the drop-down menu.
Okay.
Okay, that's okay. So what's happening is there is a drop-down menu we just can't see.
Okay.
And so there's a choice. Yeah, well, it's just this is life with with
Yep.
Google Hangouts, but I'm still getting more from this than I would get from anything else you say. I needed to see this myself. And
Okay.
just so everybody knows, there are videos that are really excellent that Jonathan did for us. He got everything prepared. In fact, I think there are like 21 videos or something.
Something like that, yep.
Yeah, I mean, just a huge amount of videos, everybody. And I put them on Jonathan's webpage, which is presentation 13, I guess, right?
Yes,
So,
correct.
and I haven't linked them all yet, but they will be very soon. The point is, yeah, the videos are fine, but this is helping me because it's like an individual lesson. So you choose the root shape, then you go down to this 5-hand shape down below, and you're choosing which fingers you want to use, but it's not because it's a 5-hand shape. It's just your way of saying which fingers you want to take, right?
That's correct, yeah. And if you happen to have a numeric keypad on your computer, you'll see that they kind of, the outside numbers, the 1, the 4, the 8, 6, and the 3, are the out, like there are 5 keys that are around like the top edge of the numeric keypad.
Oh, and that's my question. Why did you have number 4 at the index finger? Is that because of the numeric keypad?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
so
I never.
If you press the 4 on the numeric keypad, you'll be toggling between checked, unchecked, and not selected.
So that means everybody, you could use the numeric keyboard to choose how many what fingers you want. There's number 4.
Yeah, you can use like a normal keyboard as well, like I'm doing now. So if I press 4, it's unchecked.
It also works on a number 4.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So if you don't want to use the mouse, you can not use the mouse as much and use more of the keyboard, because that was one of the things that a lot on the list wanted to do, that they had to use the keyboard before in other programs, and now with the web they're using the mouse a lot, and they really want to use more of the keyboard. So this is one of the things I added into it, so they could use the mouse or use the keyboard, so it'll be a little bit more flexible for different ways of doing things.
Yes, you've certainly touched upon different ways of doing things. It's really good. So you have now chosen the circle oval. I don't think there are very many of these. Circle oval as the base, or the root shape. And then you've chosen 4 and 8, which is the index finger and the middle finger. So then you push the search button.
Yep.
And look at that. You found 2 hand shapes with a circle base.
Yep.
With the index and middle. There they are. And then the one with the cross. Yeah, that's
So there's other options too. You can select by, search by as well. The thumb, which if it's over, under, forward, angle in.
Wow. So you can search by thumb position.
That's correct.
That's great.
And other characteristics I got also from the manual are the names of the symbols, like hook, cup, hinge. So let's look for.
Hold on, menu.
So let's do a. Yeah. Okay. Can you see the listing there?
Sadly, we're not able to see the.
Okay.
But everything else.
Let me select.
Oh, it says book. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I removed the base root shape, and I reset the fingers, so it could be any fingers. Okay. I just selected just the hook. So here are all the symbols that have hooks in them. In it's what 2010. Oh,
right.
Hooky shaped fingers.
Cookie shaped, like cookies. Okay.
Cookie. Yeah.
So now let's pretend they found one they want. It doesn't matter which one. It goes up over that chooser, doesn't it?
That's right. So I have 3 choosers that are in this area here. If you can see my cursor where it says chooser presently.
Yes.
So there's 3 choosers. There's one for hand shapes, one for movement for arrows, not all arrows, but most arrows, and then there's one that's just a general. It can choose any kind of symbol that doesn't fit into the other 2 categories very well. So here we can choose which hand we want, a right hand or a left hand. So depending which hand we have, see it changes the symbol. So, which was a little bit controversial after I got into it, because I realized that some symbols are used for both right hand and for left hand. But I kind of fixed that, being that I have the four palm facings instead of just four palm facings in each plane instead of just 3 in each plane.
That is so fascinating. You know that I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so once you've choose whether right hand or let's try a right hand. Okay, so now we have palm facing you side, and then back of the hand, and then this the other edge of the hand.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody, that could be either a left hand or possibly a right hand, depending on the palm facing issues. We have actually 10 palm facings that were never completely incorporated within any software program. And even though we still, in the ISWA, are doing 6 palm facings and not 10, Jonathan has found a way to give us kind of a flexibility with that, haven't you?
That's right. So this symbol here, if I chose the left hand and chose this other one, I would have exactly the same symbol. That's the same symbol there, even though.
Yes, because over to the far right, the one on the far right, that one could be either left or right, and I'll show you why later. There's a real reason. Like for the sign for money in American Sign Language. In SignPuddle, we can certainly find these symbols. They're all there. They're just simply not quite analyzed like you did this one. That's all.
That's right. Yeah.
So then, go ahead.
So after we've chosen the palm facing, then we can choose which plane we want. It's just the wall plane here and the floor planes here. So if you want something that's your hand straight up, watching the back of your hand, there's the back of the hand, and then your hand facing forward, so you see the back of your hand. But if you want diagonal, choose this one here. So it's all 8 rotations for the right hand.
So you chose all the what you do is you choose the hand shape up under the chooser, up at the top, the box there with the blue symbol. And
well, this gets here from this section here. You choose the base shape in this section here with the search.
Right.
With all the favorites. Then you can choose the palm facing.
Right.
The plane and also the rotation of the symbol.
And I just love the floor plane. You did such a cool job on that diagram down there.
Thanks.
Yeah. And so then by the time you've done all those buttons, then what do you do?
Okay, so then you can choose. Okay, let's say I want where it is right now. So I can have several ways of adding it to the sign area. Either I can drag it from there. Let's choose that back again, or I can hit just remove it. Okay, I can also do add replace with a button, and it adds it to the top corner. And I can drag it to where I want. So those are 2 main ways of adding it to the sign area. From there, then you can use the numeric keypad and move it to any of 9 areas with the numeric keypad without having to. So if you're using the arrows and you want to move it, don't want to use the mouse, you want to move it with the arrow. Use the arrow keys to move the symbol. Okay. Use the shift arrow to move it faster. If you want it like in the middle of your sign, you can press 5 and it's in the middle, or you can press.
In the numeric, I don't know whether people understand you. It's the numeric keypad. That's for when you're like you normally do numbers, like calculating.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Not everybody has a numeric keypad though. Not in today's world, at least. So
right.
If you don't have that.
Well, then you just use the normal keys at the top, but they don't fit because they don't fit the schema. Like it's not as visual because on a numeric keypad, the top right corner is the top right corner of your numeric keypad, and the top left corner is the top right corner of your numeric keypad. Yes. So it still works, just that it's not as intuitive. So you can just use a mouse and drag it.
Yeah, and I think you can get external numeric keypads that you could attach to some computers, I think.
Yeah, that's what I do actually, because my laptop doesn't have a numeric keypad, but I use an external keypad for working.
Wow.
So I use that all the time. Yeah, they're fairly cheap as well. And then you install, basically just plug them in and they work. So.
so that means anybody who wants to use SignWriter Studio, if you get a numeric keypad, you'll be able to actually do a lot of the keystrokes just to be able to get these symbols where they should be. So now we got our.
I think it's interesting too here. I want to show you here in the chooser. If you press 0, you change between the right hand and the left hand.
Wow.
And if you press 5, which is in the middle of the numeric keypad, you go between the floor plane and the wall plane.
Very interesting. So you just have to memorize the strokes.
Yeah, because of the 2 numbers that aren't on they're already on there. So those you have to read the instruction manual to know those ones.
Yes, and you do have one, so that's really good. You also have videos on this presentation page. Go ahead.
Yeah. Another thing too is I have favorites. So if you have a symbol you're going to be using a lot, like lift you want to be using a lot, you can select it and then add it to your favorites, or even several symbols like these. So let's say I want to add this here, make a new favorite. I'm going to call it my new favorite.
Where are you typing right now?
Oh, you're not seeing that. It's
No.
a little pop-up box. It's just asking you for the name of the favorite.
Okay, so we can't see pop-up boxes and we can't see pull-down menus, and our technicians in the background were just discussing this. They were disappointed the technology wouldn't allow that, but that's okay. We're seeing your general screen. Yeah.
Because when I share the screen, it asks me what screen I want to share, so it's actually like just sharing the one screen, so
yeah,
that's probably why.
It's all okay. We're doing great.
So here we see it's odd here at the bottom in my favorites.
Okay, so you added yeah.
So let's say I remove it out of the sign area. If I set up like a new sign with no signs in it, no symbols in it, I can click here, and it adds it to the same spot where it was previously.
Right.
So that's useful for like a rhetorical. How I've got rhetorical here. So I want to add that head shape with the eyebrows and the head forward. So I could. So when I'm doing a piece of text and I have like just the normal signs, and then I can go through the text and then open them here and click a rhetorical, and it adds those two head shapes to the sign. I just move them where I need them and save, and I keep on going. So I can easily add shoulders, eye gazes, eyebrows, all different things to the signs in a text without too much trouble, because I already have them saved here in my favorites.
Okay. So you have a favorite bar and
an all bar.
Yeah. And a what bar? An all bar, yes, with all the symbols.
Tab. Yeah, tabs.
So you have the whole ISWA 2010 listed in a long list. I think that, if nothing more, is quite useful. And by the way, everybody, you can click on those little plus symbols. Can you put that over to the left and see? Just click on one of those, and then that gives you the subcategories. And if you clicked again on one of, like the index finger, then it would give you the subcategories. Oh, no, it didn't. It does, right? Can you click back and now click? Oh, it goes under. Oh, I see. So can you ever see all?
If you want to see them all at once, if you go over the first one and do a star.
Yeah, we can't see what you're doing. They were just saying if we screen shared our desktop, it would work better. Who knows? We're just going to keep going because this way at least we're learning, and I don't want to confuse us now. I just was wondering how to see all the rotations. Are there a way to do that, or is that just simply implicit within the program?
No. If you want to, you can't see all the rotations in SignWriter Studio. That's one of the things that kind of protects you from. In a way. So when you select the base shape, then you have to choose them here. If you want to see them all, you have to go through them here. And you can see them all.
I think that's very
one by one.
I think, it's so exhausting for people to look at a lot of symbols, isn't it? So this way.
So you have to have an idea which way your hand's pointing anyway, so you just click on that one. I was pointing that way. There we are. That's the symbol that goes when you're pointing that way.
Okay. It's excellent.
Also, these ones, if you use the numbers 1, 2, 3, it'll expand each category. So use that on a normal keyboard. Just press the 1. It'll expand the first grouping of the hands, second of the movement.
So can you be completely mouse free, or do you use some mouse requirements?
I always use the mouse some. I think you could almost be mouse free, but I think some things are faster with the mouse, and then some things for more accuracy, sometimes it's better with the keyboard. So I kind of go between the two myself.
But it seems that your keyboard is solely based on numbers from the keypad. Is that right?
We also have the Alt. Some things you can.
But you're not using any spoken language keys like A, B, C, or F, or anything like that.
There are some, like this one here in the search. I can go to different areas, like different drop downs.
Okay.
If I go Alt C, I go to the characteristic. If I go to Alt R, I go to the root shape, and I can use the down arrow and arrow around that one.
So you have commands, in other words, with the key. Yes, of course. That's fine.
Yeah,
It's
they're
very
called shortcuts. Yeah, they're normal Windows shortcuts. So it's like you press the Alt key and then the letter that's in the label that's underlined in the label, and then you go to that label.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, so then what happens when you've got this beautiful sign over there in the box? What do you do with it then?
Okay, then you can click accept, and it'll add it back. It'll modify if I had a dictionary open and I got it from there. It'll save it back to the dictionary. So now I've got this head shape in my 100.
We're seeing you, Jonathan. Somehow we lost the screen, which is, by the way, it's nice to see you.
Okay. Okay, let me switch back to the dictionary.
Somehow we lost the screen. So
let me see if I can share differently now.
All right. Well, Steve, do you have any suggestion, or Adam, as to how sharing screen should be done?
When I was sharing the entire desktop, it seemed to work okay to show the dialogues and the other things that were popping up.
Okay.
Share your desktop. That might be a different way to go, and have the program.
Let's try that.
Yeah,
okay.
That was really good, Steve, the way that worked. By the way, this was also working beautifully, Jonathan. This is all the Google Hangout technology. It has certain limitations, apparently. So
okay.
The pull-down menus might work. Oh, yeah. Well, here I am.
You seeing yourself now?
I don't know how I'm seeing myself. How did
I think you're seeing me on through my screen, I think.
I guess so.
Because I'm okay. Let me go back there. You see my screen now? Dictionary.
Yeah, that's all right.
It'll just take a second to refresh.
You bet. Just refresh. Yeah, should. But that's Jonathan that's going to refresh, right?
Well,
okay. I can barely hear what you're saying.
Uh-oh. Now we're having problems. That's too bad. Do you want me to get my, can you hear me, everybody?
Yeah, you're coming through okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah.
You're better, Jonathan? Okay, good.
Yeah, I can hear you better now, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, when you feel ready, you tell us. Right now, I just wanted everybody to know that I have these...
So let me try sharing my screen.
Yeah, you want to try sharing your screen now? Okay. Let me go to John.
Okay, can you see it?
Well, I'm getting there. Oh, yeah, now we can see something. Yes. Can you hear me, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
yep.
Looks like we're doing okay. And are we on your desktop now? We're sharing your desktop now?
I'm sharing this. It's called the screen. Sharing the screen. Didn't have a desktop option, but I think the screen's the same. So.
Okay.
So can you see this drop down?
Yeah. Hey,
okay.
Learn something. Thank you.
Okay. If I edit this, can you see my editor?
Yes, yes, I can. SignWriter
okay.
Studio editor.
Yeah. So tell other people to choose the screen when they're sharing the screen. Because I was just sharing the one window, so that's what the problem was.
I see. Now I understand. Okay.
okay.
So now we put it in the dictionary, for better, for worse. And I know for me, we have another 15 minutes in this particular presentation, and then you're the next presenter anyway. So if you want to, go over time, it's okay, because it's all up to you.
Okay.
But I'm telling you this, Jonathan, is I'm going to tell you a secret. I want to. Do you do literature yet? Are you able to make a document?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
That's what I'd like to see as well. So I hope we have time for it. What do you think?
Okay. Should I show you now, or should I show you some other things here first?
Why don't you show us a few more things about this dictionary? We just created a sign, and now what do we do with it?
Okay. Well, it's there basically.
And so, can you, for example, move them into a literature document, or can you put them into SignPuddle? What would you like to show us? What you can do with some of the dictionary entries?
Okay. So let's try adding it to the SignPuddle. So you have in the dictionary here, and you click. You have to be on the row. There's several rows. Be on that one and edit, and copy to SignPuddle. Do you see my menu?
Yeah, that's really powerful. Great.
Okay, and that should pop up for web browser. There we are. So now it's opened it and SignPuddle.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can tell it what puddle we want to save it to.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So there is a limitation here. Like if the that accompanies this sign is lost. It's only the sign itself, and it doesn't pull through who wrote the sign, the sources, or anything. So it's quite limited in a way, but it is one way of sharing the sign.
Yes.
And you have to do one sign at a time too. So hopefully we'll be able to remove those limitations in the future, as both SignPuddle and SignWriter Studio keep progressing. So.
Yes, of
So
course.
then you would choose
You're welcome to use any of our dictionaries. We don't care because we can always go back in later. It's just fine. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay. So another thing too, this feature in SignPuddle is actually for documents. So if I want to save a sign, I have to save it to document first, and then go to this document and then save it as a sign in SignPuddle.
Wow.
So what I'm going to do here is call it temp. Let's call it
Sure, temp. Yeah.
I might have another one there, so let's try my 100. My 100. Okay. And then we'll click on add.
So you click on the add.
Okay.
Right.
So there we are. Okay. So now we have a document that has just one sign in it.
Okay.
So then we want to go and click copy sign text.
Ah.
Okay. Then it's going to ask us
where we want to save it.
Yeah, I don't know if I chose the right one or not. I think I did.
It's okay.
Sign from sign text.
Wait, say that again, Steve?
Instead of copy sign text, it should have been copy sign from sign text.
Okay. This one here. Yeah, that's better. I remember that screen. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. So here it lists all the signs in the document. So this one only has one, so we're going to copy this sign.
Sure.
Okay, and then where do I want to save it to? The Honduras Dictionary.
Uh-huh.
And this is 100. Okay, and now add it. And now it's in the
your new
Honduras
file.
Dictionary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a symbol, just a sign, I should say,
yes.
not a document.
Right, exactly. We understand, but it's cool that you guys have worked this out. That I'm sure there are more features that will come later, but this is really great that we can go back and forth. That's great.
Yeah, so that's moving to the SignPuddle. So what else I can do here? I can also take the dictionary and export it to HTML.
Okay.
So all the signs in the dictionary that do not export symbol checkbox checked. So like this one's going to export because it's not checked. But if it was checked, then it wouldn't export it. It would skip it. So export to HTML, and I can browse for a file, create a new file. Okay, and click on export.
And it gives you
now So now if I open that in my web browser, actually, yeah. So here we are. So now this is just been exported just now.
Oh, so wow.
These are all the signs that are presently in that dictionary.
Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, so this is a quick and dirty way of being able to share the dictionary with someone else. So if I have a friend or somebody that needs to learn a sign, and they're like, what's that sign? And okay, well, let me just export the dictionary and look. You can search for it because it's a web page. So you can look for the word and they can come to it and they go, okay, that's what the sign is.
Yes. Very well done. Nice.
Yeah. So.
Very good. I like that feature.
Yeah. And also done it also for Anki. That was a request of one of my users from Andre Lemire. Yeah, so Anki is a program that's a flashcard program. I believe it's, I'm not sure who actually wrote it first, but it's a freeware. And people can have like flashcards that have a question on one side and the answer on the other. And if as they go through their flashcards, if they find one flashcard was hard for them to remember the answer, then they mark it as it was a harder one. And so the program will keep asking that one more often until they get it memorized.
I see. And
so people use it for learning like Japanese and other Chinese and other kinds of languages. So they can have, like every day they can go through their cards and the ones that they find most difficult gets repeated more often. So that's what Andre wanted because he's learning Quebec Sign Language. And so he wanted a feature to do that. So that's what I did here in File, Export to Anki. so I can export the, the the all the information from the dictionary, and then a folder for the images. Then then you go into Anki, import it, and then you can every day you can get a different sign presented. You have to remember what the sign is, and if it's difficult, you mark it as difficult, and it'll ask you. Next day, it'll bring that one up again, so you can practice it more often.
Okay. Well, I don't think you should go there right now just because of time.
Okay.
I would really like to see the literature feature because I don't mean to be taking away from the dictionary, but frankly, I really would like it.
Okay.
Because I just really want to be able to create some literature, and I would love to be able to do that. So.
Okay.
Let's say I needed to write, Cinderella, or maybe I wanted to write to you and say, thank you, Jonathan, for the beautiful presentation that you did today, but I wanted to tell you in ASL, written ASL. How would I go about doing that in your program?
Okay, let me just load the ASL dictionary here. Do I have one?
Well, you may not. Oh, no, don't worry about the language.
I do.
Why don't you use your own language? Any dictionary you've got doesn't matter to me. I was just giving you an example.
But I want a dictionary that's a bit populated already, because if it only has 3 or 4 signs, then that won't be much.
The language you've got. Do you have a Honduran dictionary? A Honduran sign language?
I do. But the ASL, I have one.
Don't even worry about ASL. It doesn't matter. Do you know some basic sentences, for example, in Honduran sign language that we could look at in literature?
Yeah, I do. I'm worried that I might not have all the signs in the dictionary yet.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Just give us the features so we can see how we would do it if we were able to build the dictionary in SignWriter Studio, right?
Okay, sounds good. So I'll show you my screen again.
Yeah.
So do you see my screen?
I think we do. Yeah.
So SignWriter Studio document.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a blank. So when you open it first, it's a blank document, and then basically what you want to do is add signs to it. So you can add. There's 3 different ways of adding signs to it. One is from the editor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's from scratch. If you want to add just a sign from scratch that's not in your dictionary, you can come here and then pull some symbols over, and let's try another one. This one here on the floor plane, just for argument's sake. Okay, so we've got a sign and accept. Okay, so we've got this one sign here. It's not in the dictionary. It's just in my document. If you want to add from the dictionary, you can come here, add signs from dictionary. Have you seen that?
Uh-huh, yes, I see that, yes.
Okay, so then it's going to bring up the dictionary. Okay, I need to choose a file though, because it's a dictionary file. So let me choose a dictionary. I had the Honduran.
Yeah.
This one here.
Yeah. Anything
here. Okay. So here, if I want to look for a sign, so hello is hola. So if I search for that, see what I get. There we are. There's hola in Honduran Sign Language. So I have my cursor on it on this row, and click accept, and it adds it to my document. Another way of doing it is from the signs, adding a gloss to sign, so we can write some glosses and then add it to.
So that's a little bit like the translate feature in SignPuddle. You could just write a bunch of glosses in English or in Spanish or whatever spoken language.
That's right. So it's very, very similar to that.
Okay.
So exact same idea. Hola. ¿Cómo está? So hello, how are you? But being that ¿cómo está is one sign, but it's 2 words in Spanish, but it's one sign in Honduran Sign Language.
Okay.
You see how?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out so good because let's see if I have it.
No, that's okay, but I can see you have different choices, don't you? Because the same word gloss can be represented by different signs, can't it?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So you have multiple choices that you've got to make. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Uh-huh. The same problems that we've always found to happen.
Yeah.
And then how the words were entered too in the dictionary means so much because if they were 1 word or 2 words, it's hard to find.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this one, if it finds an identical match in the gloss to the word you typed in here, then it shows as in green. But if I put in another word and it doesn't find it at all, then it's going to add a red one. So if I have a lot of gloss and I'm adding a lot of documents really fast, then it catches my eye. Say, oh, this is a red one. I didn't find anything for that word. Maybe I misspelt it, or maybe I haven't added to my dictionary yet. So I can go back and check that. Also, if like sometimes it doesn't find the exact word, but it finds that word within another word, then it'll be yellow.
Okay.
If I do COM, if I COM, I find that. So there, it shows me this yellow one here is all. It didn't find the word COM, but it's finding all the words that have the word COM in it. So then I have to be more careful because it's more likely that the one that's here isn't the one I actually want. I have to actually go through it and choose it. Be more careful about choosing the right one.
Right. Okay, that's an excellent feature.
So then we check them. So then we can put a check mark. So those are the ones we added to the document.
Right.
Also, if I feel like maybe sometimes I have a long piece of text here of gloss, and I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't the right gloss word for the sign I'm looking for, so I need to come back and change it instead of going back and losing all of my selections. I can just choose this one and right-click on it and change the gloss. So let's say that I didn't want it to say como, I wanted to say papa, which is father.
Okay.
Okay, and then it should now it's look for papa for me.
Right.
So my other checkbox here, it stayed the same. It didn't get reselected or anything.
Wow.
Yeah, so that way I can make some changes. Sometimes I miss the way the words are spelled. I can just change it, and then once I have everything there, then I just click I'm good, and I click accept, and then it should add them all to my document.
And this is the document over to the left. That's the first column. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So and adjust to the height of the screen as well. So.
Oh, that's
shorter.
Graphs. That's great. And so, can you show us a bigger document already written in the document feature here? Can you bring a saved document?
Let's see here. Open. So I didn't prepare anything to show you, so I don't know.
I know. I'm sorry about this, but you know this is helping me personally. I'm so grateful for it. I was going to ask you to Skype with me and do the same thing.
Okay. Let's see if I have anything.
But it gives us a feeling how one would work, because you're looking for folders and files.
Okay, this is a transcription of I quickly translated Exodus 32.
Wow.
So it's the first section. So it's just one paragraph here.
Oh, it's beautiful, Jonathan.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Wow. And you're using the SVG that SignPuddle Online uses?
I'm still using the PNGs in SignWriter Studio. I haven't had a chance to upgrade it yet.
Okay.
Partly because I wanted to focus a bit more on the user interface and for features that the users actually want, like the Anki that Andrew Lemire asked for. So trying to focus more on the user and less on the technology part.
Okay.
So hopefully the idea is that we will get the SVG in here and have nice outputs. Another thing that's missing from the document is to export it. The best way I have right now is doing a screen capture and pasting it, which isn't really great either. So that's another part that I need to add into the program so they can actually save it to a format that I can work with easier. With text, right? And also have the columns too, the right and left columns.
Oh, the lanes. You have the
lanes, correct.
So let's say I wanted to, are you able to edit? Let's say you made a mistake and you wanted a certain sign to go into a lane. Can you, I think you have some lanes there. I can see it.
Yeah, so I just right click on it, lane, and choose which lane I want. The left, center, right.
Oh, that's so cool. So you can change the lane after the document's been written. That's really,
right.
Really one. You don't have to edit. Yeah.
Another thing too I can do is maybe sometimes you have like a sentence and maybe it starts on the last sign in the column. So I don't want it to be at the last one. I want it to be the first one in the column so it reads a little bit easier. It's kind of like a paragraph, but go about doing vertically. So I right click on it enforce the beginning of column, so that starts the column here. So no matter when I adjust it, always at the start of a column. That symbol, that
Yeah.
sign is always at the top of a column. So that's something that's unique to SignWriter Studio.
Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. Now, I have to tell you something, Jonathan. First of all, we're sharing screen and we're getting an interpreter, and I hope everybody can see him. Thank you, Adam, for interpreting. Very interesting. I don't know whether you can see the interpreter or not out there in the world, but it is happening. If not, later on, if the recording doesn't have it, we'll just simply put it back in somehow.